Welcome to Realize. Thanks for being here. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you're new here, welcome. And if you aren't new here, welcome back. I'm glad you guys are here, new and not old. I don't want to say old. New and friends that have been here for a while. And I just really want to thank you. I'm finally being brave. I've said that, I think, a couple other times in videos, but then I stepped away for a bit and I'm back. I've been thinking a lot about what is it, waking up? What is everyone talking about when they're talking about waking up? And it's being aware, more aware. For me, it's been realizing that I was taught a lot of things that I just thought I had to abide and follow and just be that since I was little, and throughout my life, and the patterns that just kept being taught. And then the funny thing about reality, some people may or may not know this, but the funny thing about reality is whatever you are being or thinking about, it's going to keep reflecting back to you. So then it just looks like that is correct. So you just keep seeing it reflected back, and so that's normal. And then you keep thinking the same way, and that's normal, and it's all just continuing to be normalized. And then reality stays the same. So how are you supposed to break free of that, right? How do you know it can be different if it's always reflected back to you that that's what's normal? The funny thing is you somehow, maybe for some people, get so confined by it that it almost, this is what happened for me. I don't know if it happens for most people this way, but maybe I'm assuming so, and so that's what I see reflected back to me. But it seems that most people have some almost like constricting, crushing, like debilitating experiences where they feel like they have to break out of this. Like there has to be more. And then you start seeking more, and you start believing so strongly with a faith there has to be more. And then things start trickling in. And then when those things that trickle in influence you, you start to change a little bit. And then those changes reflect back to you. And then you start to see differences that weren't there before. And then you're like, well, wait, what's up with that? And so then you dive deeper and more is reflected back to you. And it stems from changes from within, and then you get shown more because of those changes. So you can't necessarily see a change until you change. So to me, that's waking up. And so there's layers of that. You don't just wake up, you don't, or enlightened. You're not just suddenly enlightened. I mean, I can't say rules for everyone, but that's my experience and experiences that I've seen from other people is you have multiple awakenings, multiple enlightenings. So I was thinking a lot about that. And so for people who may be new to all of this, it's hard to see it. And so I just like to give that hope that there is more. If things are hard and you're seeing things stay the same and stay the same and stay the same, the only way to change that is for you to change within. And then they start to show you reflections back. And that's key. For me, one of the biggest breakthroughs a long time ago, and this is a lot of people's story, is to see the movie The Secret. And the quantum physics part of that movie, especially because when you're really intellectual and you're really focused that way about being intellectually smart, because that's the way we're taught. And you're kind of putting your intuition aside, but it jumps in here and there, and it always is right. So why do we put it aside, huh? It's funny, because every time I've listened to my intuition, it's always been right. And anytime I've gone against it, it's been not the best experience to go through. So listening to that intuition is very important. And when you start to allow more of these, what people may think are unusual teachings, like law of attraction and manifestation and, the spiritual things that some people call woo-woo, when you start to allow some of that in more, you start to experience differences in reality, and you start to see these show up more. Law of attraction. Oh, it was not just The Secret. It was also my mom showing me Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham, which a lot of people can think it sounds very strange. But we are multi-dimensional beings that we have it. It's funny how we can feel like we have ancestors and loved ones that passed on watching over us, and angels, and and God, and all these things that's taught in religion, and that's normal, and that's what's accepted, and then these other things aren't. And why is that? Why don't we question that? It's because whatever we've been indoctrinated with from birth and on up is normalized, and that's what we experience. And it's hard to change from there or accept anything else from there. But if you were learning this stuff from the beginning, then that would be what's normal. So that's what I've been thinking about. I have more and more things showing up for me that is not what's considered normal. And to describe it all is even hard to do, but everything is being reflected back to me as I change, and it's just phenomenal. It's incredible, miraculous. I would say synchronicities, insane amounts of synchronicities, and people around me aren't going to notice what I notice unless they are changed the same way I am. And I'm not going to notice things that they notice unless I'm the same way they are. So we all are experiencing our own realities by what we are from within. Everything is experienced within, and you may not think about that. You look out into the world with your eyes, and you see out, and you smell things out there, and you touch things out there is what it looks like, right? But if you really think about it, none of it is actually experienced out there. It's not experienced out there. It looks like it's out there, but it's experienced inward, and it's experienced because your eyes that are looking out are translating what you see out there into your brain, and then your brain is, translating it for you. And it's translating based on what you're aware of. So the crazy thing to think about is if you're aware of something else, you're going to be able to see that, because that can be translated. It can be really mind-blowing to really take what I just said in, because there's people who do absolutely see just way different reality than some other people, because their awareness has expanded and they're capable of seeing it. There's that. Think about you touch, and then whatever you touch is signaled through that feeling from your nerves and things inwardly, and then you feel whatever you touched feels like, whatever, if it's soft or whatever. Yeah, so you feel it that way. You taste everything is sensed and then translated within. So we don't actually experience anything outward. It's all experienced within. So that's something to mull over if you like mulling over things like that. And you might test it, see if you start to, that's why affirmations work. If you repeat something over and over and over again to yourself, and it can feel really weird at first if it's something that seems impossible to you, and if you keep repeating it, you can start to feel a little more comfortable with it. It's not going to feel as weird. And then you keep repeating it and keep repeating it. You might actually start to feel like a little more connected to it. And eventually it even might become natural to you. And then once that happens, that's when you'll start really seeing it reflect back to you. You'll see the synchronicities. You'll see other people experiencing it and telling you they experienced it. And then eventually, if this is your desire, truly, and it feels natural to you, then you're embodying that state and it'll show up for you. And the reason I say embodying that state is because everything is states, and states are, if you've ever heard of Neville Goddard, his way of explaining the frequency that you are at, like the energy patterns you are being, your state of being. And that state of being also creates your reality. Your emotions tell you whether you're on track or off track from the desires in your reality. And we have that all misconstrued. We just think they're just these out of control things we just feel because good things or bad things or happy things or sad things or scary things are happening. And yes, they are there for those. And they also are messaging you whether you are listening to the right frequency. And when it feels really constricting, like your body is contracting, you are listening to something that is taking you away from your frequency that is the highest. It's lowering your frequency. It's providing less energy. And so it feels constricted, like energy sucks away almost, or you're holding it in and blocking it off. And when you're listening to something that's giving you a relief and an expansive feeling, then you're on track. That expansive feeling is more energy is coming in to you, and you're on the right frequency, to your highest frequency. You're closer to that. It's like hot or cold, right? It's that game, hot, cold. In a way, it's like that. Your emotions are your guidance system in a way like that game. Like you're looking for something. Oh, you're hot. You're almost there. You almost found it. Or you're further away. You're cold. But it's constricting or expanding, or a relief feeling, or a almost like gut-wrenching or sickening feeling the further off track you are. Or despair, or depending on what it is that you're listening to.